Hello and welcome back to module number 2 in social insights. Module number 2 is all about understanding our Facebook analytics. So we're going to go deep into the interface of Facebook's analytics section. And like I said before in module number 1, it is so robust. Facebook has a phenomenal analytics section. It is completely free for business accounts, and it is definitely something we as marketers and small business owners should be taking advantage of and should be paying attention to, certainly on a monthly basis. So let's dive into the different areas that are available to us and what they all mean. So first of all, where do we find them? How do we get to those Facebook analytics? So when we are on our Facebook business account, and I got there through our Facebook business manager, whether or not you're using business manager or not, you're still going to have access to them if you have a business page. If you go to your main page, you're going to see a top menu bar. This is where you would get to your, of course, page, your feed, as well as your inbox, any events that you have, and Creator Studio, and so on and so forth. Oftentimes, you won't see insights laid out in this top menu, but you will see a menu item that says more with a little arrow pointing down. If you click on more, it's going to create a little drop down menu below, and insights usually lives in there. Okay, so you click on insights and then you get taken to your main insights area. So this is where you land when you click on that insights button from your main page. You land on the overview. Now, the overview is a really great page to pay attention to. And if you're looking at nothing else within Facebook Analytics, I implore you to at least look at this page every month at the end of each month. So your overview is a beautiful snapshot of your performance, and it's going to default it to the last 7 days, but you can then toggle that right beside page summary. You'll see last 7 days, but it has arrows beside it. You can toggle that to the last 28 days and even the last 24 hours. I always will change that to the last 28 days so that I'm looking at the last month at a glance. So this is a great snapshot summary. It's going to give you information about the actions on your page, any page views that you had, page previews, any likes that your page got, the post reach overall, not post by post, but total number of people reached by all of the content that was posted in that period. Any story reach if you are using Facebook stories. And then a few other things like recommendations. Not many of us have that set up. Post engagement, and it's going to group all of those engagements together: likes, comments, shares, link clicks, all of that will be included as a post engagement. And then if you have any videos posted, it's going to give you a little bit of information about those 3-second video views. Now, you'll notice here that it has additional little numbers below, and you'll see green and you'll see red. So this is comparing it to the previous period, whatever you've chosen. So if you've chosen the last 7 days, it's going to show you that compared to the previous 7 days. Or if it's 28 days, comparing it to the previous 28 days. You get the idea. So we want to see the majority of green here. That means that there's been an increase over the last period. So don't be alarmed if you see a few red numbers pop up here and there. Metrics are a fluctuating thing. You're going to have peaks and you're going to have valleys. We want to make sure that we're improving overall over time, but there's definitely going to be some posts that just hit better than others do. So moving on from our overview page, I'm going to skip down to followers. This is another really great page to look at. Now, of course, we want to know how many followers our page has, right? And this is going to tell you how many people follow your page. What I want you to pay attention to more than just the number, of course, we always want to see that climb, but I want you to pay attention to your growth. What percentage growth did you have over the previous period? And you can do some simple math to figure that out. But I find the growth is more important than just paying attention to that number and striving to hit a number such as 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is. Once we get to our follower section and even the ones below it, you can manually choose the time frame to record your growth and to monitor your the metric that you've chosen here. So you can see up at the top, and you can choose, I always will toggle it just to the month that I'm looking at, the month in review. But if you wanted to do it quarterly, you could see what that follower growth is over a whole quarter, over 3 months. If you want to do it annually, again, you can toggle those dates exactly to what you want to be measuring. Okay, the next is likes. Now, this is a little bit different than followers. So there's two different ways that people can interact with your page in this capacity. They can either follow a page or they can like a page. And you may have seen that yourself just as a personal user on Facebook. When it comes to a business page that you see, you can either just like it or you can follow it. Now, most people will end up liking it, but if you follow it, the algorithm is then going to show that page to them more often in their feed. So following a page is actually a little bit more beneficial than liking it. Oftentimes, those numbers are going to be very, very similar. Okay. So don't get too hung up on the difference between the two. Both are important. So this is going to tell you how many page likes you have as of today. If anyone unliked your page, it's going to show you organic likes versus any paid likes you might have got running an ad campaign to get those likes. Again, you can choose the exact time period that you want to be measuring. You can also see where your likes happened. So where on your page they happen, whether it was from ads, whether it was from page suggestions, Facebook's algorithm suggesting your page to people who have similar interests, or from a variety of different sort of elements, desktop, mobile, all of that sort of stuff. So there's some really great information here. Okay, next up is reach. And this is probably my second favorite area after my overview section. So reach is going to tell you how many people, unique people, your post reach in a given time period. Again, whatever you've selected up at the top right-hand corner there. So the individual amount of users that you reach, it's going to show you your organic versus paid. So you can see the difference here in this graph. The lighter orange is your organic reach, and then the darker orange is your paid reach. So you can see here that we've obviously started an ad campaign or paid to boost a post or two around the 29th or 30th of this month. You can also see the negative sort of reach included in this if you scroll down a little bit on this page. You can see if anyone hid your posts, if they decided to hide all posts, or if they reported your page as spam or a post as spam, or they unliked your page. So just pay attention to those. Don't get hung up. There's always going to be a few negative Nancy's out there, but pay attention to any spikes that you might see in those negative statistics. Okay, next up is page views. So these are the users who visited your page. So you can also view the sections of your page that were most often visited. So including your posts, so just your main feed, your page, your videos, your about section, or any groups that you might manage. So this is just a great idea, a great place to get an idea of what places on your actual Facebook page people are engaging with the most. Okay, I'm skipping down to actions on page. So these are the actions that you can incorporate into your Facebook page, such as a get directions button, website clicks, because you can include your URL on your Facebook page, of course. If you've got your phone number listed, did anyone click on it to actually make a phone call and call your business? And any other action buttons that you've decided to add, because you can tailor this and customize this a little bit within your Facebook page profile. Okay, this is certainly the place that you should be spending the most amount of time. So overview, reach, and posts are probably my three favorite areas to be paying attention to when it comes to monitoring our Facebook analytics. So the post sections is an overview of all the content that you've posted. And this actually doesn't have that period adjuster. So it's not like you're looking at it at a given time period. It's going to just show you all of your posts in chronological order, starting with the most recent. So it's a review of your posts. It really helps us understand what content is performing well and what content isn't performing so well. You can also see at the top here when your fans are online, and you can also follow competitors' pages here. Okay. And we'll go into a little bit more detail about this particular section. So a closer look at your actual post. So when you scroll down that page, you can see again that recap of all of your posts posted in chronological order, and it's telling you a bunch of information about it. So of course it tells you the date that it was published. Then it gives you a recap of the actual post, and you can actually click on that and the post will pop up so that you can see what that imagery was. Was it a photo? Was it a video? What was the caption that you wrote, and you can see exactly what it was that your audience saw. All right. Now the type, that's your type of post. This was a carousel. It has two or more photos included in it. This little recorder image, of course, that's a video. This was a link. We actually shared a link, and so on and so forth. Targeting, they're all targeted to the public. Sometimes you can choose this and not necessarily choose to have a public audience. You can choose to just show it to your followers. Reach. Again, the unique amount of people that saw that post. It's going to tell you organic versus paid. So that lighter orange is organic, that darker orange is paid. So it will give you that breakdown between the two. If you were to hover over the darker section, it would actually give you that breakdown of the 1,000 people reached, how many of them were paid, how many of them were organic. And then engagement. So it's going to go down by post clicks as well as reactions. So this is reactions, comments, and shares. It's grouping a bunch of those engagement metrics together in one. So again, at a glance, you can kind of see what those top performers are. All right. So then at a glance, I know, okay, this one right here, 887, that's all organic. This is a really highly, is a post that's resonating with a high number of people. It also has really great engagement metrics. This one right here, awesome, 1.2, so 1,200. Tons of engagement on this one, and there wasn't even any payment associated with it. None of that was paid reach or paid engagement. So I know that those two posts are probably within my top performers. And then I can see at a glance, maybe some of my lower performers, maybe this one here, 348, one of the lowest ones at a glance, 341. And they didn't have a ton of engagement, still a little bit, but not a ton. So then I would click into it and look, what pillar does it follow? What category does it follow? Why wasn't this as popular? And that's where the why comes in. What insights can you garner from this information? Now, the most useful sections of this area are these two drop-down arrows that you see beside reach and beside your post clicks, reactions, comments, and shares. So let's take a look at what those two drop-downs can tell us. So the first one here is our reach. So it covers reach and impressions. So it's going to default you to your reach organic versus paid, but you can just see your reach overall. You can bring it down to look at your impressions, organic versus paid. So that's total number of eyeballs on your post. And then you can also look at your reach of fans versus non-fans. So this is an interesting one to pay attention to, because we know if we've reached a high number of non-fans, then we've likely had a bunch of shares. A bunch of the people following our page have shared it with their friends and family, because those people aren't necessarily following us and they've still been reached by our posts. So things to look for when it comes to these drop downs. We want to see posts with a high reach, because this, of course, just indicates that a lot of people are seeing it. Pay attention to the posts that have a high organic reach versus paid reach, because this is indicating that it's more viral in nature. If it just took off organically versus having that paid reach, we want to pay attention to that. Now, posts that have a high number of impressions indicates that Facebook's algorithm, it's showing it more often than other posts. So it's serving it up more often. Okay. And then, like I said before, posts that have a high reach among non-fans, that's also indicating that that content is more viral in nature. And again, the algorithm is going to see that and it's going to reward you, and it's going to start serving it up and showing it to more and more people. Now, the other drop down is the engagement one. So it's going to default you to post clicks and reactions, comments, and shares. You can just look at reactions, comments, and shares. You can look at those negative stats, the post hides of all posts, report of spam, and unlike your page. And then last but not least, your engagement rate. And engagement rate is a really great one to pay attention to, because this is the percentage of people reached that then engaged with a piece of content. So that's an awesome metric to pay attention to. So things to look for: posts, of course, that have a high number of clicks, reactions, comments, shares. It's indicating that that content is engaging. Posts that have a high number of the negative stats, the hides, the reported spam, and so on, it's telling you that users don't like that content. So we should be doing less of that, of course. And then posts that have a high engagement rate, and anything higher than 1%, I know it seems low, but anything higher than 1% is considered more engaging than average. So take a look at your engagement rate, and it might surprise you how engaging your content is within your audience. Okay, the next section here. So that kind of concludes the post section. So the next section to pay attention to here is the events. And this is going to open up a new tab on your browser. And it takes you to a whole nother section just because it's really robust in itself. So you can manage and track all of your events and their insights right from within this new tab. And there's lots of different things that it's going to tell you here. It's going to tell you all of the events that you've posted in the last 90 days, how many people your events have reached, how many responses that they've garnered, how many ticket clicks that they've got. And then it's going to give you a bunch of other information. If you have any active posts within those events, it will give you information on those. And it's going to break down all of your events down here, depending, and so you can see the results, the reach, the responses, and the clicks for each of your events as well, not just overall like we see here at the top. Okay, the next section is our video section. So if we're creating a lot of video content, which we know that we should be, this is going to give you an overview of the performance of any videos that you may have posted. So it's going to tell you the total number of minutes viewed. It's going to tell you the increase over the past 7 days. Now, I believe this is going to default you to the last 7 days. And I'm not entirely sure. I don't think you can actually manually adjust that period on this section as well. So there's a few sections that will just tell you the last 7 days of performance. So it tells you the total number of minutes viewed, how many 3-second video views you've had. It's going to show you this graph here, and it's going to tell you if you, of course, posted the video on January 24th, there's going to be a spike in minutes viewed at here, and it's usually going to go down from there. But it's important to kind of see those peaks and valleys. Your top videos, your highest performing videos by minutes viewed over that week period. So if you're posting a lot of videos within a week, this is definitely a section that you want to spend some time with. Okay, the next area here is people. So this is where you can learn a little bit more about your audience, the people who are following your page and liking your page. It's going to show you the countries, the cities, the languages they speak, their gender, as well as the age breakdown, the age brackets that they fall within. It's going to tell you this of your fans, your followers, as well as your engagers, which is really cool because your engagers are not necessarily fans or followers of your page. Especially if you're doing a lot of paid content, you might be engaging people who haven't necessarily liked your page. So this is an important area to pay attention to. And you just toggle at the very top here, you can toggle from fans to followers, people reached, the people engaged. Really, really powerful tool to find out a little bit more about who you're speaking to here. Now, if we go down to messages, this is really important. If people are sending you a lot of private messages, a lot of direct messages in your inbox, because that means that they want to continue that conversation in a private setting, not necessarily in a public interface. So it's going to show you any conversations you're having or maybe not having if we haven't responded to those messages that we've received via direct message. So it's going to tell you how many messaging connections you got. This little drop down is going to default to the last 7 days, but you can click on that arrow and you can choose last 28 days, last 24 hours as well, just like our overview section. The block rate, if anyone's blocked you, hopefully not. Any new messaging connections that came about in the last period, whichever you have it set to. Any new blocked connections and any reported connections. So just a little bit more information about the types of messages that you're receiving and what's happening in your inbox. Okay, so this is where the first exercise in our workbook comes into play. And I want you to go pen to paper here. And I want you to go and take a look at your own Facebook analytics. So go into your insights section and take a look at your post performance. If you do nothing else, look at your overview section and then go down to that post section and really take a look at the type of content that is performing well and the type of content that isn't performing well. I want you to look over the last 30 days and I want you to highlight your 3 posts that performed the highest and base it on 2 different metrics. And you get to choose what those metrics are. So maybe it's your reach and maybe it's your engagement overall, or choose maybe your engagement rate. Which ones had the highest engagement rate? Was it 1%, 2%, maybe even higher? And then do the same for your bottom 3 posts, the worst performing posts. From there, I want you to draw some insights from it. What can you garner from this information? Look at the days and times of the postings of your top performers and your bottom performers. What was the type of post used? Was it a photo, a video, a carousel, something else? And then pay attention to the content pillar and the categories used. What theme does the post have? Was it always about community or education? Or were the bottom performers maybe a little bit more promotional in nature? Often that's something that we can draw a correlation to. And then those categories, was it a how to? Was it an inspirational quote? Was it a testimonial, a Q&A? And see if you can draw any similarities or commonalities among your top performers and your bottom performers. The information that you might see really might surprise you. And we want to know what's performing well so we can start doing more of it. And then we want to know what's not performing well so that we can either tweak it, adjust it, or maybe just scrap that idea altogether. So that concludes module number 2, our deep dive into Facebook analytics. So next up, we're going to go into Instagram insights as a platform and really understand the difference between the two, because it's far less robust than Facebook, but there's still a lot of really valuable information that we can find within Instagram insights right on our mobile devices. I'll see you in module number 3.